Welcome back to First Coast Living. We're out here at the Glass Factory, and we decided to do something a little bit different for you today. We got some music for you, and my friend Jerry Maniscalco, Lieutenant Commander Jerry Maniscalco with the Navy Reserves, helicopter pilot, coolest job in the world to me. You've been playing music ever since, what, you were little and all the way on deployment?
I have. I picked it up when I was probably 16 years old, and it initiated in high school trying to impress girls, I suppose. We're transparent here.
Yeah.
But it carried over, through college. I was part of the Naval Academy Men's Glee Club, and I don't really have the opera type voice, but I learned a lot doing that. And then after I got out of college, I started writing my own music and playing out in public. And
while you're on tour and serving our country, you guys, Operation Encore is a really cool group that you guys have, made up of a bunch of servicemen and women who are also musicians, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Operation Encore is a nonprofit organization that's a collaborative effort among musicians that are affiliated with the music community. It could be veterans, it could be active duty, it could be military spouses, and Operation Encore provides the resources for those musicians to make professional recordings, perform professionally, and all of these things. So it could be anything from opening doors, so it could be anywhere from someone like me who has a separate career but also wants to participate in music professionally to a full-on touring musician. Nice. We cover the full gambit.
So it's pretty cool. So we wanted to have you perform a couple songs for us here, and we got this beautiful space. If you've never checked it out, the Glass Factory is right next to Engine 15, and I don't think have you ever performed in a place like this?
Not yet. But it's going to be really cool. I really like the acoustics in here. I think it's going to sound awesome.
Well, hey man, I appreciate you joining us. And this first song is called Riverside, and we're right near there. So.
Absolutely. This first one's called Riverside. It's off of my newest EP called Bold Enough to Try. This one's available on iTunes and on Apple Music, Spotify. However you consume your music these days, you can probably find it.
Look them up. Search Jerry Maniscalco.
Check it out.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Explore the space, my friend.
Let's do it. Myself, what do I see? A sad, sad picture, but hopefully I remember the dream of you and me, hand in hand in a riverside. We were walking down. We were walking down. We were walking Riverside, down Riverside. I look at this road, what do I see? It's not the same old stone that it used to be. Well, now we could learn a little something maybe if we keep walking down Riverside. Walking down, keep walking down, keep walking down Riverside, down Riverside. Now some say home is a place far away, a postcard, a picture where they can't stay. I'm not ever gonna leave here again. Mine's right here at 95 and 10 in a riverside. Whoa, whoa, walking down. Well, we're walking down. Yes, we're walking down Riverside, down Riverside.